She's a member of NA, Jessica Ballard. Come on in, Jessica.
Hello,
Hey,
good
how are you?
morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well,
Okay. So I understand you're a member of Narcotics Anonymous.
yes.
How long have you been a member?
So I found Narcotics Anonymous a little bit later than everybody else.
Yeah.
I went after I was 2 years sober already, and I was like, you know what, this is a big deal, so I want to go to a meeting, and I did, and I got my first trip at 2 years, so I've been going for 3 years, because I'm 5 years clean and sober.
All right. Congratulations. So Jessica, tell us about you. Tell us where you come from, where you're at, just basically give us an intro into you.
Okay, let's see, so where I've come from, what I have been delivered from is, sexual abuse,
Okay.
physical abuse,
Okay.
mental abuse,
Okay.
jails, just basically everything but prison.
Okay.
And I have to share this because it's something that, I read my Bible every day.
Okay.
The way that I got saved was from drugs and alcohol, was from my father.
Okay.
He took the taste right out of my mouth. I told him, this is the last time, this is it, I promise, I swear, just help me. And he did. And he saw me at where I couldn't turn to anybody else but him. And he saved me. So I read my Bible every day, and while I was in jail, I started developing, I found Jesus in jail. That's what they always say. I found Jesus in jail, but it's true though, it's true.
Oh, yes.
I actually really did find Jesus in jail. And I was just 2 years ago, I had my past come back and haunt me. They were telling me that the drugs that were found in the car, they were going to try and give me that charge. And it was a lot of drugs that were found in the car at the time. I had not been saved yet. And I was looking at 10 years in prison. And through my readings every single day, through having a very strong supporter, my Bible kept telling me, I'm going to do this. I'm going to burst those bonds. I'm going to break that yoke off of your neck. I'm going to do all these things. And I found out just earlier this year that I'm now on probation. So instead of getting 10 years in prison, I get probation.
Okay.
And I think that has everything to do with God.
Mm-hmm.
Everything to do with me going to meetings without being told that I had to go to meetings.
Right.
Me wanting to strengthen for meetings, I call it my toolbox. Like I just find more tools to put into my toolbox so that I can get through those difficult situations or whatever the case may happen to be. Where my faith, I'm struggling because I'm human. I have my moments and my doubts and my worries and my anxieties, and everything just starts to pile up a little bit to where I can still stay centered. And that's why I go to my meetings, so that I can have that little bit more of, okay, so this person is doing this way, so I'll take that little bit and take that little bit, and you know what I mean? And so now I have this amazing toolbox, the kind that stands up with all the little drawers in it, okay, and a lock and key so that nobody can come in and break what I have built.
Cool.
So.
Excellent. So, backtrack a couple questions, just out of curiosity questions.
Sure.
So you were talking about the abuses and stuff that led you to where you were. Did those happen young in life, midlife?
Midlife. So 20s, my 20s and my 30s, I was ripping and running. I've been doing drugs since I was 17,
Right.
I started off with weed. It is the gateway drug. It is the gateway drug.
Weed is a lot of things, actually. The gateway drug is it.
I didn't believe what I was reading, and that actually piqued my curiosity to try something else, to try something different, to see what this is about. And I ended up getting swept up pretty good with 20 years of using drugs, and drinking alcohol and just being a hot mess. But I had my parents who just kept supporting me, just kept, like, they weren't enabling me, but at the same time, they're like, you need to get it together, you need to get it together. And they were the only ones that I would hear even a little bit from, you know? So I'm very grateful.
So I'm one of those, well, I've had God in my life pretty much my entire life. I think a lot of people do, they just don't know it, right? God was with me, but I wasn't with God, you know, those kind of things. But in jail, I think I made that connection again, you know, same as you. But what I find, even when I got out of jail, was the difficulty to believe that He would save me.
Yes.
Now, the thing about the second step, which I changed the word could to would, it says that we believe that He could. Well, I changed that word. Even when they read it in meetings, I did not hear could, I heard would. And I'm like, you never have before, why would you now? You know, and so but what I found was that I had to trust myself to make the right decision and let go and let God, you know. And,
so hard.
And,
so hard. Look, anybody listening, that is so hard.
well, it's a daily thing. I mean, if we don't stay on top of ourselves every single day, I know what I'll do. You know, I will get into self-will. And Todd's will is not really the best place for me. You know, God's will is. And as long as I stay there, it's amazing. I tell people new in recovery that if you can do the third step, which is turn your will over to God and let Him run the show, you would be amazed at what happens. You know, just like, so when I hear you tell your story, tell me if you agree with this statement.
Okay.
I think God put you in jail on purpose so you'd have time to connect with Him.
So I call it my timeout.
Yeah.
And yes, because the last 2 times that I did end up in jail was, I'm sitting you down. Like, are you listening? Do you hear me now? Nope, you haven't heard me yet? Okay, you will. Okay, you will. And He waited for me. You know what I mean? Like, He waited for me to get to that rough place, that only you can place. Like, I can't turn to my left, I can't turn to my right, I can't trust in anybody else because I had already, because of my addiction, I'd already driven everybody else away. You know what I mean? Like, I've already pushed everybody else that cared, that mattered. I lied, I stole. I mean, I did all these things. So who was going to believe me when I say that I'm finally done? That I really, truly mean that I am done? Only Him. Only Him. That's it.
So I one of the things that I feel strongly about is that I believe that every single day of our lives is like God puts us in school. And I think we have to experience seriously, I think we have to experience every single thing, every single day to bring us to where we are right now,
Yes.
right? And so He knows when it's going to happen. We don't know when it's going to happen. I mean, my aha moment came in a weird time, weird place. It wasn't like the burning bush. It was kind of awesome, but it wasn't. But I came to understand that, because you think, oh, poor me, right? Why did I have to go through all that? Well, now I know why.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's for what I do today.
Yes.
Because without my story, without my faith, I'm nothing, right? So my past, which used to be unredeemable to me, I didn't think I would ever look at my past and say, oh, I'm proud. But I'm proud that God put me through those things because it allows me to do what I do today. And it's amazing. And I think that that's one of the hardest things for people to understand. Because they're like, why did God do this to me? Or why did God do that to me? It's because He has a higher purpose. It's because He has a plan. And that's something as addicts and alcoholics, very hard for us to understand. Very hard for us to internalize. Like, I think it's hard for any human to internalize that. But how do you feel about that statement, that every day of your life has been intentional on His part?
Yes, absolutely. Because just this past, it's almost been a year where I'm working, and the way that I got brought on was nothing but God. Okay.
Right.
And seeing where I'm at right now and believing that I can help somebody else out every day just by saying a little snippet of my story or my past that I relate to them with. And I tell these people constantly that I don't want somebody that's just book smart. You know what I mean? That's to help me out. Because you can't understand where I'm coming from. You haven't been down there. You haven't done what I've done. You haven't been in that difficult situation to make those other decisions before. I have. So I can honestly say, when I'm speaking with somebody, that I've been where you've been. Maybe not exactly where you're at, but I've been there. And let me tell you, just look at me. I don't even have to tell you anything else. Just look at me. Look at where I'm at. Look at the joy that you see every time you come in. That is all what can happen for you.
Mm-hmm. For everybody.
For everybody that's willing to just, but you have to believe that it's possible for you. And in order to do that, you have to give it up and let God.
Well, I think you have to believe that you can 100% trust God.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, that's
yes.
the thing is belief in Him. To me, I don't think belief in God is such a hard thing. It's the trusting.
You're very.
It's the trust, in my opinion. It's the trusting because of all the things. But then once you come to understand, well, when you can look back and understand, okay, I know why I experienced that now. You know, I have a suicide attempt in my past, and when I run into somebody that has that or has an issue with that, I kind of know. I've been there, right? I sat there that day, and I know. And so it allows me to do those, to be able to relate and connect, okay? Now, had I not did that, or had I not understood that, I would have still been a poor me. Look at my miserable past. Look how unfortunate I am. Because what they say the unfortunate ones in the beginning, I'm like, I'm the unfortunate one. In the beginning I was. But the thing is that we have to understand our past is very redeemable. So everybody out there, if you think your past is unredeemable, it is not.
It is not.
It is not. And it will not define you. The things I think that define people today are not your mistakes. It's your reaction to your mistakes. That's what defines people, I think.
It's my reaction to my mistake.
'Cause
So
that's
like not being able to learn.
well, no.
from my mistake
Your
or
reaction.
receive
So,
that it is for your good. Like,
well, so in your mistakes
okay.
and in your reaction to your mistakes, you can tell if a person is godly. You can tell if a person's in self. You can tell if a person's just angry all the time because of their reactions to their mistakes.
Okay.
So if you see somebody that makes a mistake and they stand and they face it and they deal with it and pass through it and know that God's got them, you can see that in people.
True.
So it's that. So my mistakes and my past don't define me. You know, okay. I think that you gotta watch it. I get rabbit holes all the time, and that just happens to be one of them. But yeah, I think that I think it's been wonderful my interactions with you. We do interact quite often. Always positive, and the things that we do, we know at night, we know that we help somebody. There's without it, unless it's Saturday or Sunday, Monday through Friday. Well, no, it's Saturday, but Monday through Friday, we know at the end of the day that we did something for somebody at some point.
Every single day I have the opportunity, I have the pleasure to, if I wanted to, take that extra step. If I felt the need to, set that person aside and just have a little one-on-one with them. I have that opportunity. So even when I go to meetings, man, I mean, I'm sharing about this and that, and I get so excited, and the hands are going everywhere, like I speak with my whole body. I speak with
You're
my
that
whole
guy.
body. And so I'm just like, and this is what happened, and this is all that, And I thank you, every single one of you. Every single one of you that's in here, I thank you for my recovery. You've been a part of my recovery. You know what I mean? Even if it's the newcomer, you know? You have been a part of my recovery. Because you had not the guts, but you were able to speak where you're at, which is difficult. I mean, having a place where you can speak about where you're at and not get judged, not be looked, frowned upon, not be ashamed of. I found that place, and that place for me is at a meeting. And so when I share, I want to exude positivity. I want to say I had a terrible situation, and this is where I'm at. This is where I chose to go. Instead of going outside to the alley or the corner or the dope house or the, you know what I mean, or whatever, or hang out with those homeboys and those homegirls that I have no business hanging around. Instead, I came to a meeting. You know what I mean? I decided that I needed to be here. I needed to be here. And there have been a few occasions just recently where it was an absolute need that I needed to get to a meeting. And even though I may not have shared where I was at, which I did, but even if I didn't, just hearing where everybody else was at, just hearing what the topic, what the Just for Today was enough for me to start crying. Because that's where I needed to be. That's where my God told me, hey, this is where you need to be at right now. This is the message, the life-saving message that you need to hear today. And it may not have pertained to my particular situation right then and there, but it was enough to be like, okay, come back just a little bit and focus. We're gonna get through this. You're gonna be okay. And you're gonna do it sober. Because that's what you're supposed to do.
That is right. So let's talk a little bit about Narcotics Anonymous.
Okay.
I have a couple questions because somebody made a comment to me, and I thought about it. I thought, well, it makes sense. It does. But I think that maybe he was a little too serious about what he was saying, because basically I am 7 years clean and sober.
Woo!
So for me, I'm 7 years clean and sober.
Right.
Because I'm an addict alcoholic.
Okay.
Well, he came at me as well. You know, you can't do NA and identify as both. You just have to identify as an addict, because essentially alcohol's a drug, right? And that made me think, well, okay, so maybe I just should say I'm 7 years clean. And I thought, oh, that doesn't sound right, because I'm 7 years clean and sober. Yeah. And so, what do you think about that statement right there? Do you think that alcohol's a drug, so everybody should just say they're an addict? Or do you think that everybody should, okay, here we go, everybody should be all inclusive with everybody?
So in the narcotics meetings, you are an addict because alcohol is a drug.
Right.
In AA, you are an alcoholic because that was your drug. In outside San Antonio, outside everywhere else, I'm 5 years clean and sober.
Okay.
Period. Like that, you know what I mean? There's a time and a place for everything. How I decide to look at it is I'm 5 years clean and sober. I have made it this far. And alcohol is considered a drug to me because if I start drinking, I will not stop. One is too many, 1,000 is never enough. And then I will drop back into drugs. So for me, that is the gateway drug to the drugs. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So I am 5 years clean sober.
Okay.
I know some people get all.
They do. You know, and I tend to, now if I'm in an NA meeting, I will identify as an addict. I respect the group enough.
And see,
that
I
I
think
can
that's
do
all
that.
it really is about.
But if I'm in public, I'm going to acknowledge them both.
Going, splitting hairs and everything else is like, you know, you should be, if we're getting into that sort of subject, then we should be giving each other a hand clap, a high five, a hug, a thank you, a something, some sort of acknowledgement, instead of wanting to just
Well, I believe
snip it
that,
through.
I think everybody should be able to walk in any room they want to, and identify any way they want to, period.
Okay.
Because, well, so,
Well, for in my meetings, they stick out like a sore thumb. You
I
can
know.
tell the ones
No,
that go to, because they're like, my name is such and such, and I'm an alcoholic drug. It's like, wait, what? You're in the wrong meeting.
no. Well, so in my opinion, they're not. Okay, I get what you're saying. I get
You're
my-
right.
I get a need, you know, and maybe it's not the right meeting, but maybe God put you there for a reason.
Something
Maybe,
different.
maybe there's something, because I think if anytime you go to a meeting, you're gonna get something out. You get some negativity from somebody. There's gonna be somebody in there that's gonna say something, nope, I don't wanna take that with me. And then there's gonna be somebody that says something, you say, yep, I'm gonna take that with me. Never been, I've been to a lot of meetings, and I've never been to a meeting that I didn't hear something that was, you know, that made me just think. And so, yeah, but it's funny because in an AA meeting, I'm not afraid to talk about drugs. You know, I am not afraid to talk, well, because there are some old timers that really kind of get a little bit put back by that. But I think, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but I truly believe that the modern, which I'm very young, so I'm still modern, but I think the modern alcoholic, because you think about it, Bill Wilson was a drug addict, just like he was an alcoholic. He had to stick with drugs, because, you know, when you can't get the alcohol, what you gonna do? Same thing with drugs, you can't get the drugs, what you gonna do?
Okay,
You know, and
okay.
so
That's very true.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's
So-
very true.
You know, when people in AA say, well, wait a minute, do you even know what our founder did? You know, he got hooked on some very heavy drugs during his addiction. So he was truly what I call an addict,
An addict.
period.
Doesn't matter what it was or how much it was, that's what I was gonna do. That's a true addict.
Exactly,
Yes.
because I know that I had my times with both. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Separate times and then together times.
but for 40 some odd years, I never had a time without something.
That part.
Yeah, and
You were in addiction for 47 years?
well, yeah, you know, we're not here to talk about me, we talk about you.
Wait, let's backtrack real quick. You were really in addiction for 47 years?
But not 47, let's see, it was 43. Well, I started drinking very, very young because my father made his own beer in the basement, and I discovered that. My childhood was a little different, and so I started drinking very young. But I knew, well, by 12 I was doing drugs. I was drinking at 9. And by about 10 years old, I realized that alcohol was an escape. It made me feel some sort of way. So I don't think I started out an addict alcoholic, although they say you have a gene, and I'm not denying that at all because it's in my history, right? So I'm not denying that a bit, but I also have family members that aren't.
Yes.
So I say that yes, I believe that environment sometimes does affect those things. I have definitely made myself an addict alcoholic, and I am not so bold to stand up today and say, hey, I'm good, I got
Yeah,
this.
like,
I don't
I need nothing else for the rest of my life. I'm so ready.
But I'm having so much fun, why would I stop? And for
Recovery
one,
is amazing.
and for one, and then for two, it's about clarity.
That I have some, right?
Well, I didn't
That
have.
there's no longer this fog,
Right,
that I can actually see the sun and enjoy it.
internalize it.
Internalize it, yes, yes, and then exude it out to others. That's my job. I think that's my whole job in life, is to just exude positivity to other people.
So another thing I used to do in meetings and stuff, when we would hold hands and do the prayer,
Mm-hmm.
I always like, blessings in, blessings out, blessings in, and just let them flow through me like that. And it was like I purposely increased what I tried to do in my mind while I'm saying the prayer is, okay, God, let's take the blessing I'm getting here and let's increase it and put it there. And I do that
That's
every
beautiful.
meeting I do, or any time I pray in a public setting, it's always blessings in, blessings out. And I know this, that's what I do, you know, and, I don't know what that does, I don't know, but, and I don't tell you, I don't hold anything, guess what, I took a blessing to you, and I hate you too.
Guess what?
Yeah, I don't do that, but I mean, yeah, it's weird when we let ourselves go. The old me, no, not the old me. The old me would not give, well, now, okay, if this one had something I want, and this one needed some of what he had, I would be the intermediary, you might say. But this guy might be out of luck, you know?
Because I might just catch what he
Yeah,
wants to give to
yeah,
himself.
exactly, so I mean, but those days are done. Yeah, I think it's clarity, I think that today, it's just like they say that you'll learn how to handle situations that used to baffle us. That's clarity, that's strictly clarity, because we understand. I understand, now, there's things that could happen that I won't understand, but that's okay.
That is okay, like I'm okay with not being able to quite grasp a situation because I know in due time. But before, it's like, no, I need to know, and then I freak myself out, like I go into the straight tizzies in days of tizzies, like I don't miss that, I don't miss the ups and downs and the ups and downs. And then sleep for 3 days, and then the ups and the downs. I miss that, like you can't, it's not ever happening again.
No, well, you know, the thing is, we can't say never, because we never know what might happen in life, right? But I believe it will never happen in my life. Yes, I believe it'll never happen in my life because of the fact that I think that, the clarity that I have is, what I've always wanted. I think the clarity that I have in the relationship that I have with God, I didn't know the relationship with God was what I was looking for, but all my use, all my drugs, all my alcohol, I just wanted to be a part of it, understand. And so now that I have clarity, it's like, this is it. This is the ultimate high that I've always been wanting and looking for my entire life. Why would I do anything to mess that up?
I am so glad that you said that because I was consistently chasing a feeling, chasing that feeling, that first high, man. And so then I spent years chasing that first high, and then drugs were no longer fun, and I had this depression, I had this anxiety, I had all these mental health issues, and now, not only am I in my clarity moment, but I mean, I sleep better, I eat too much, like, I am the happiest that I've ever been. Like, so when I was humbled so low that I had nowhere to go, literally, I was in jail, I had nowhere to go. I was just asking for him to help me, right? But I wasn't specific in what because I didn't know where to start. And he gave me that purpose, that drive. That we're gonna start here. We're gonna do this. I never thought in a million years I would be where I'm at right now.
Of course.
Never, ever, never could I ever have even thought to ask for where I'm at right now, or where I'm literally at right now. Like I never would have thought that I would be given these opportunities that I've been given, or that I would have the strength to continue with what has been given to me. And that's what I pray for the most is strength. Strength to continue, the wisdom to be able to handle what's been given to me. Strength and courage so that I can speak up when I need to, because sometimes when you're speaking with somebody and you can tell that they're down and out, you want to be able to help them out in some way, shape, or form, right? And maybe you can't relate with them one-on-one. I want for the wisdom to be given to me, the words to come out that person needs right then and there. You know what I mean? And if it's not me, give me the wisdom to get them to wherever they need to get to, you know? Like, I just want that direction. That's all I'm looking for now, is just direction. Am I going left? Am I going right? I mean, and it took me a little longer to get here anyway, you know what I mean? Because I missed a turn. Had to turn around. So I'm really bad with directions, but as far as direction, that's where I'm at. I don't need, Lord, can you please give me, I've got this bill due, I've got this bill due, I've got this bill due. I mean, I was just saying that last week, but that's not my prayer anymore. My prayer is, can you just give me enough so that I can handle?
Okay, that sounds good. Question.
Answer.
So I know that when we try to help others in addiction and alcoholism, and we try to help others in general, period, right? What do you do, or how do you find the patience for somebody that just won't hear, and they won't slow down long enough to hear? And you know in your mind, okay, this person is not really hearing what I'm saying. They won't seem to be quieted enough long enough for me to try to help. Where do you find that? Because I know ultimately over time, you know, generally we can, but where do you find the patience? And is that something that you consciously think about?
No, it's not something that I'm consciously thinking about, because I don't want to take too much time for me to say something and get tripped up, or for me to come out in that particular circumstance. I need for it to be this Holy Spirit. I need that direction. I need that guidance. As far as the patience goes, if I know that they're not gonna hear what I'm saying right now, then let me listen to what they're saying.
Okay.
That's it. That's the best that I can do for that person, is be the ear, and maybe that way they can kind of figure out what their next step is gonna be. It may not be to go to a meeting. It may not be to go to rehab. It may just be, right now, I have 1,000 things that I'm juggling and just need an ear to hear. So I will be that ear to hear.
Okay, cool. I like that. So, I know we're getting limited on time, but I want to backtrack on something, and I want to ask you if you want to share some of the history or some of the things that you've experienced and went through. Let's talk about your mental health and recovery from mental health issues.
So I just got certified as a mental health peer support specialist, and part of being a peer is being the sounding board for a person. So that's where I got that from.
Okay.
But also with I was diagnosed with substance abuse disorder, and I was also diagnosed with bipolar. But this was before I knew, and this was after I started getting help from my addiction, that I was diagnosed with that. It made a lot of things a little clearer. There were countless days. I've never been the person that's always been down too much. I've always been the person that's been overly excited. Like, I'll get overly emotional, not necessarily super down, but I get really weepy. I would be, I was the one that cried at the ASPCA, in the arms of the angel.
Right.
That was me. Like, that would bring me to tears all the time. And instead of being like really down and out, I would just be sad. I wouldn't be depressed. I would just be really sad. And then I would be extraordinarily happy. And I would have all this energy, and I would go, and it was exhausting. I would literally be so excited that I would have to make myself take a nap, because I would just exhaust myself. Being able to have a conversation at a normal level was very difficult, especially when I was first coming into recovery, because I was always told that I was less than nobody, that my opinions didn't matter. I was worthless. I mean, I had all of these things being told to me, consistently drilled into my mind, that I was to the point to where I hardly spoke at all, because every time I did speak, something bad was happening. So now that I am on my medication, like a good little noodle. I'm able to have conversations with people. I'm able to connect with other people. I'm able to say that I understand that you don't want to continuously tell where you're at because the doctors aren't listening to what you're saying. You know, I can say that it's been difficult to want to connect with somebody who hasn't been on my level. And that's what I've even taught my kids is that I would fight for them in that way. That I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna talk to you. Like, you don't know where my son is at right now because they struggle with mental health. You don't know where my son is at right now. So I need to speak with somebody else. I need somebody who can realize the manipulation, who can realize the ups and the downs, who can stabilize me, my kids, in a good way. And your book isn't going to explain the manipulation without having the connection to my son, to myself. So me becoming a mental health peer support specialist was really important to me because I wanted somebody like myself to be able to fight for other people.
Cool, I like that. I know that I too am a mental health certified here at Texas State.
Almost certified 100%.
But, and I too. So what I decided, I thought about going back to school and become like an LCBC. And then I found that you couldn't, ethically, you can't really use your story. Well, a lot of LCBCs would tell me, oh, I use my story all the time. And I'm thinking to myself, ethically, you're not supposed to. And if my program is a program of honesty, I won't be able to.
Right.
So I nixed it. I'm like, no, you know what, I'll go out here. And so I got certifications for all kinds of stuff.
Oh, we're gonna have to share
Because
all.
that's what I decided to do, is I'll learn what I need to learn. I can learn the same things over there, doing other things, and I would have the freedom to do what I want. And that's why I didn't do
You're gonna share that with me? Because
Yes,
I would love
I'll-
to get more certification.
it. Okay, you got it. I sure will. So anything you want to say before we close to the world?
Networking, being yourself. Myself was enough. Myself is enough. And networking with people who are not necessarily like-minded, but who you share a special connection with, really hone in on that because it's super important. And it's amazing the opportunities that will come your way if you're willing to listen to that connection. I'm all about connection. Like, you never know where your next friend will come from. If you really trust yourself and let yourself be who you are. Don't hide. Be who you really are. It really goes a long way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo!
Appreciate you coming. Glad you liked it. Everybody stay tuned next week. We'll be back at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Every Saturday at 10 a.m. we'll be doing something. I have some interesting things coming up next Saturday, so be sure to stay tuned, and thank you for watching.
Hi, Mom. I love you.